with Vedas, as I said, Vedas are the holy book for Hindus. When I asked this question, many people said it is Bhagavad Gita or Ramayana. But Ramayana may be acceptable to some people, not everybody. Some people may call it a legend. But if you look at other religions, for example, Islam, there is one book called Quran. And what is meant by Quran? The literal meaning of Quran is recitation, which is in Arabic. If you talk about Christianity, it's Bible, Holy Bible, one book. If you talk about Jews, Zendavasta. So every religion has its own holy book, acceptable to all in the community. And I think the only holy book which is common to all Hindus, irrespective of whether they are Shaivites or Vaishnavites or any of the subsects, is the Veda. That is the Pramana. So, from the Vedas only many things. And most of you will know that this Hinduism is the oldest religion. Talk Christianity is just over 2000 years old. If you talk about Islam, it was born even later, maybe 600 AD or something. But Adi Shankara existed even before Christ. According to Kanchi Matam chronology, he was the 6th century BC. So, it is one of the oldest religions, and Vedas are the starting point for everything. So that being said, I really want to give you some basics about Veda. Veda, as you know, is not composed by any human being. Something what they call Anadi or Apaurishaya. It is not written or composed by a human being. It has come directly from the Almighty. It is heard by the sages in those days. They in turn passed it on by word of mouth to their descendants or disciples. And that is how it has come all through, without having written text there. So that is the starting point for Sri Rudram. Because Sri Rudram is right in the middle of Krishna Yajurveda. And we should know something about the Vedas before we go on to Sri Rudram. So I have a PowerPoint presentation which I want to give you, show you what is an introduction to the Vedas. Which can you operate that? Better put this Yes, Ravi, come. Okay. We're just starting. So you're going to break it here? Yeah, I'll sit here. Maybe I'll take the chair and sit down here because I have to operate the computer. So this is a short introduction. Vedas come from the verb with. With in Sanskrit means to know. So it means knowledge. You have an extensive collection of mantras. As I said, Anadi Apaurishya, and is considered to be Parameshwara's breath. It's a Nishvasitam Vedaha. And the rishis discovered them by mantra drishta. Papangar solvanga Tamil. Papanna another. Papan was considered to be a derogatory term. It is not so. Parpan, that means one who has seen. Seen naka, they have heard it. Tamil சொல்றத வாழ்க்கையில எல்லாம் பார்த்தாச்சு சார், எல்லாம் மேலே பார்த்தாச்சு கீழே பார்த்தாச்சு அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். பார்த்தாச்சுன்னா not seeing with only eyes. You have experienced it. Yeah. So they experienced it by mantra drishta. That is why they are called Shruti, because they heard it. And from the hearing, it was passed on. What was heard? And the story of the Veda. Veda was actually one single Veda in the earlier yugas. We talk about Dwapara Yuga. There was only one Veda. And when Dwaparika was coming to an end, people got worried. Next is going to be Kali Yuga, and then things may turn totally different, and people may not remember Vedas. They may not be able to even study in one stretch. So they went and represented to Lord Vishnu. Vishnu said, "Don't worry, I've taken care of it. There is going to be a person born with my name, Krishna, and he will do the necessary composing." He was called Krishna Dvaipayana. Dvaipayana is Dvipam. He was born in an island. His name was Krishna. And he made the Veda into 4 parts, subdivided them. And then they made it easy for easy study in Kali Yuga, so that even one person can study one part of the Yuga, the Veda, or 2 or 3. You have Dvivedi, Trivedi, Chaturvedi, and so on. So thus he acquired the name of Veda Vyasa. Vyasa itself means composition. That's why it comes Veda Vyasa. And he is the person who composed all these 4.
Okay, that's why he's called Vyasa. Because
Yes, Vyasa, because நம்ம ஸ்கூல்ல சொல்லுவாங்க வியாசம் எழுதுறதுன்னு சொல்லுவாங்க தமிழ்ல. Vyasa means composition.
Oh.
So his name
Because he
is not
composed it.
Vyasa.
Sorry?
His name is not Vyasa.
He was called Vyasa. His name was Krishna Dvaipayana. But he acquired the name of Veda Vyasa because he composed the Vedas into 4 parts. So acquired the name as Veda Vyasa. Everybody knows him as Veda Vyasa. If you ask who is Krishna Dvaipayana, people may not know. So he was the one who compiled it, and he entrusted these 4 different parts to different rishis like Paila, Vaishampayana, Jaimini, and Sumantri. Each one of them was entrusted one part for dissemination to their disciples. That's how it went. So the 4 Vedas, they are called, Rig Veda is supposed to be the oldest one. Rig means a stotra. The Rig Veda is full of hymns extolling Devatas. If you talk about Yajur Veda, in which we are going to have Sri Rudram, Yaj means to worship. Yajna also comes from that. It's worship through rites and rituals. Sandhya Vandanam, Sri Rudram, Abhishekam, all rituals. They are all part of Yajur Veda. Sama Veda, Sama itself is Samam and Sama. It's kind of equipoise, it's very, very smooth. And it's a musical Veda. Not many people can master Sama Veda. It has got to be sung in a particular way. So it's a musical Veda to please the deities. Ravana was one who could sing Sama Veda. And Lord Shiva gets pleased with Sama Veda.
It is actually supposed to be so musical that you completely forget all your senses. You can just entrance.
Yeah. So Samaveda is that one. In fact, many of these rituals, they have Samaveda also, one person, but not many people get qualified in that. I went to Pune and there were, you have a Vedas Padashala, not Pune, Shankaramat. You have 12 students. They are all Rig Veda. But the one boy who studied Samaveda, and he came there and he recited Samaveda. Recite means sang. And it's very difficult to find such people. Samaveda. And last is the Atharva Veda. Atharvan really means a priest. It's a mixture of prose and poetry to ward off misfortunes and destruction of enemies. It is very popular in Kerala. Mandrigam. All these Mandrigam they do, they can subdue evil spirits and make use of them.
Will no, I got so worried.
Relax.
Make use of them for various purposes. But it can be very dangerous also. So that's a part of Atharva Veda. So these are the 4 Vedas. And the 4 parts, the Vedas itself, they have got 4 parts.
I'm having
One is
small
called Samhita.
question. One question. Prior to this. One question. We belong to out of one of these 4 Vedas only.
Yes.
See, my father told me we follow Yajur Veda.
Yajur Veda.
So why we are following that?
Because your forefathers and their forefathers, they had specialized in Yajur Veda. So we follow Yajur Veda.
That's all.
So in Maharashtra you will find a lot of people in Rig Veda. Yajur Veda is very popular in Andhra Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. If you go to Maharashtra, it is mostly Rig Veda.
So all it's, you had mentioned 4 sages, right, disciples. So one of their descendants was the forefathers of Tamil Nadu and Andhra. essentially.
So
There's
they,
nothing to do with it.
they had specialized in the particular Veda and then they taught their sons or disciples and then they followed. So you belong to, even Yajurveda itself has 2 parts. One is called Krishna Yajurveda, other one is called Shukla Yajurveda. The story goes that Yajnavalkya, who was Vaishampayana's Shishya, he was learning Yajurveda from Vaishampayana. She was his guru. But one stage the Shishya tried exceeding the guru. He started asking all inconvenient questions and so on. So the guru said, no, I am not going to teach you anymore. You better go and learn from somebody else. But before going, whatever I have taught you, you give it back to me. So you have to give back all that. So that part of it is called Krishna Yajurveda. That is the Vaishampayana's Yajurveda. Yajnavalkya went to Surya, God, sun god, and told him that I want to learn, you better be my guru. So sun god taught him, and that part is called Shukla Yajurveda. And Shukla Yajurveda, not many people, Krishna Yajurveda also, there are 2 divisions in that. So that's what I Surya and Vaishampayana.
Sorry, one more question. So for the Yajurveda, if we belong to Yajurveda, that doesn't really have any meaning because we are not learning, like we didn't learn Yajurveda till now.
So but still you are part of the Yajurveda clan. Now you are trying to learn it.
Yeah.
Exactly. So even I don't know Yajurveda. Yajurveda itself is a very large one. So it is not possible for you to master it. It has got to be gone from a Gurukulam stage right from the start. You have to do Adhyanam for 7-8 years before you start learning something. You know, Veda is so large that nobody can master it completely. It is such a large one. There are,
Sorry, one more question.
as you see there, shakas.
One more. You said he gave it back, right? Giving back in the sense he didn't teach anyone, right?
Giving back means he is not supposed to practice it, and nor he is supposed to teach anybody else. It is something which only the guru is entitled. So he is not supposed to do it. In other words, he relinquishes all the rights of using it. So he learns from somebody else and practices that one. So like you have many of these agreements now. Same way. Now Shakas are branches of each Veda. Shaka itself means branch. You have political parties, Shakas, Shiv Sena Shaka and so on. Vishnu Purana refers to 1180 Shakas and Vyasa divided them into Samaveda. It's got 1000 Shakas. Yajurveda 109, Rig Veda 21, and Atharva Veda 50. Now we don't have all of them. Most of them have been lost. What we've got, only a few left out. If we talk about Yajurveda, hardly 10 or 12 are left out. Rest are all lost. What we have got is from the chronology from olden days, that it was there. But we don't have access to them anymore. Now the 14 abodes of knowledge. Veda itself has got several further divisions. The 4 Vedas has got what you call 6 angas, limbs, or upavedas you can call them. They specialize in particular topics. If we take Siksha for example, it's mostly on phonetics. Vyakarana, Panini's grammar comes under that. It's full of grammar. What are the rules for following in Sanskrit? Chandas, which is their meter. For example, if you take Gayatri mantra, it's got 24 syllables. Likewise, different mantras have got different number of syllables. So the meter is Chandas. Niruktam, etymology. Jyotisham, Dr. Sureshwara's topic, astrology, part of that. Kalpam, procedure. And 4 upangas are auxiliary limbs, as they call it. Mimamsa deals entirely with rituals. At one time, there were people who believed Mimamsa alone is enough. You don't need to go to Paramatma. Like Mandana Mishra was a Mimamsakar, who eventually became Sureshwara. Not this Sureshwara. He acquired the name of Sureshwara. He was a Mimamsaka practitioner. He only believed in rituals and not in a Paramatma. If you follow Vedas and do the rituals, that itself will give you the necessary benefits. There is no Paramatma. That was his belief. But Adi Shankara went and had a vadam with him for 18 days and eventually won over him by explaining what is Advaitam. That is the old story, what happened between Mandana Mishra and Adi Shankara. So Mimamsaka said, Nyaya, relating to law and justice, the Puranas and Dharma Sastras, these become 4 Upangas. So you have 4 Vedas, 6 Sanghas and 4 Upangas, which makes it totally 14. 14 such branches for Vedas. In Tamil we say, சில சமயம் பேசுறது சாங்கோபாங்கமா சொன்னாங்க அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. I don't know whether anybody has heard that. In my days I have heard this term. Sangopanga. It means actually Sa Anga Upanga Adhyayana. That means highly secret or very clear, you can say. Very clear but secret. Sa Anga Upanga Adhyayana. So the 4 Vedas are really the crown of the whole pyramid of all these 14 abodes of knowledge. Because this you all know what is the Vedic learning system. Now we are trying to revive it. In Pune what we have done is a Gurukulam system where we have 12 students now. They are given boarding and lodging in the mutt itself and they go through an 8-year program in learning Vedas. And this was the old days when the Sishyas used to reside in the same place as a Guru, and they were learning and then they were also memorizing all these Vedas. And for future, when they become Gurus, they will transfer it to their disciples. So the Vedas have never been inscribed on any stone or anywhere. Nowhere you will find it. Now, Vedas use sound to create positive vibrations. Now, this is a very important part, what I mentioned. Neeru was asking, I want to learn. And Dr. Sureshwara had somebody, one lady said she also wants to learn. When you can learn what is Veda, this is perfectly alright, but when you want to really do Parayanam or recitation, the sounds have to come right from the navel, from here. Because you have got different methods of saying it. Like you have the Udatta, which is normal, uniform, Anudatta, which is lower, Swarita, which is a high pitch, and Dirgha Swarita, which is a double deep pitch. Like you say, Ganana Antva Ganapatihum Havabake Kavim Kavina Upamastavastamam Jetarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspade Anasrinvan Udivi Sida Sadhanam. The first slokam which comes in Sri Rudram. Say Ganana Antva, you have to raise. And for doing it, you got to really pitch your voice right from the stomach. The air has to. I feel many Shastrigal, who are doing this on a regular basis for a number of years, their stomach gets bloated up. Of course, partly due to eating, but partly also due to this. It has to come from. So, it is more confined to men who recited. In the Maharudram, you find not a single lady was there in that group. But they can know it. Principles can always be studied, like I am explaining now. But practicing it as a regular basis and chanting it as a Parayanam is not recommended, advisable for ladies. That is for Sri Rudram and Vedas in general. But no bar in doing other Sahasranamams, Lalita Sahasranam, Vishnu Sahasranamam, so the Suktam I mentioned to you, all that. So the intonation and pronunciation is very, very important because they are the ones which create the right vibrations. I will talk to you later as we go on what is intonation when you come to Sri Rudram. But it is very critical, and that's the reason why you really learn it from a guru. Because a guru is able to teach you and be able to correct you. When I learned it, I was making mistakes and the guru used to say, no, that's not the correct way, you better do it this way. So then he will correct it on the spot. And then you start learning it that way. So this is very important to listen and learn from your guru to get the right and vibrations are the ones which really cause the impact in your heart, in your body, the society as a whole. Chanting Vedic mantras. Now what is a mantra? Anybody? Manana trayate iti mantraha.
It's meditation.
Manana trayate. Manana means by mind. Trayate is protection. Tra is a verb for protection. That one which protects you by reciting in your mind is called mantra. Now it's such a common term now that it is included in the English dictionary also. It's a corporate mantra they call it, as if it's a panacea for all ills. They believe in it.
Yeah.
Corporate mantra. So this is used as a term which is supposed to relieve many of the problems and provide solutions. So manana trayate iti mantra. That's what is a mantra. And Vedic chanting is a mantra yoga. If you say Rama Rama also is a mantra. Even that has got the power to protect. So anything which has the power to protect by recitation is called mantra. So in Quran, what they recite is a mantra for them. They keep on reciting. Same thing.
So now more questions. But in the Sri Rudram and all we recite it loud. Yeah. So how does that won't fall under mantra then?
Oh, it does. Very much mantra. Because
it's not in the mind.
you are
You're not saying it in the mind.
when you say mind, it doesn't mean that you got to only meditate. It comes from your mind. It comes from your mind. The origin is from your mind. But you can say it
Okay.
aloud. Vishnu Sahasranamam, for example, is a mantra.
Yeah.
But you recite it loud, right? Lalita Sahasranamam is a mantra.
Yeah.
But,
The only way-
but specifically they give some names. Gayatri mantra.
Yes.
They don't say Gayatri. Gayatri mantra.
This is because for every devata, the only way you can really capture them is through mantras. Gayatri gets subdued only by the 24 syllable Gayatri mantra.
That's
So you have a mantra for every devata. If you want Surya, Aditya Hridayam is a mantra. Sundarakandam, if you read, is a mantra. Because that is way you please the heart of not only Hanuman but of Rama also. So a lot of people do Parayanam of Sundarakandam.
Then why didn't they say Aditya mantra?
Sorry?
Instead of Aditya Hrudayam, they could have mentioned it as Aditya mantra, right?
They don't, many of these they don't mention it as mantra.
Even Vedas.
But
even
they are
say Veda
mantras.
Mantra.
It's a mantra.
If you say Hare Rama, 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 Hare Hare, it is a mantra, but they won't say it's a mantra because it's understood. So I am just trying to explain to you what is a mantra, but there are many mantras. Bijaksha mantra, there is a mantra for every devata. The only way you can really please devatas are through mantras. And every devata has their own mantra. So Lakshmi has her own mantra, Saraswati has got, Shiva has got his own, Vishnu has got. So there are different ways of pleasing them. It's a vibration which creates reaction of nadis, and the power of mantras creates well-being. It's also, this is how to chant, but also how not to chant. You're not supposed to chant Sri Rudram in certain ways. There's a slokam for that. Geeti. That means not like alabanam, like Carnatic music, raga alabana patrangla. You're not supposed to sing Sri Rudram that way. It is supposed to be sung in a particular way only. Shigri. Very fast. I want to finish in 10 minutes. So express speed. Even that is, you've got to have a certain pace. Shirakampi. Nodding your head like this while reciting. No. Keep a steady head. Not like this. Tata likita pataka ha. Not to read and then recite. Likita pataka ha. What is written? You're not supposed to even look at it. Somebody told me recently, I think this Omkarananda who came to, you were there on that day, right? In Aurora.
Right, yeah.
And he said that he went to Kashi and he found a group of people reciting thousands of mantras. And he thought they must be very learned, but he was surprised to learn they don't know reading or writing. They are not familiar with how to read and how to write also. Only they have heard and then they are reciting. That is how Veda mantras came. Of course, they learned to read and write, but then even if you don't know reading and writing, you should be able to recite it from hearing. So, Likita Patakaha, Anartagyo, without knowing the meaning. You are not supposed to recite it without knowing the meaning. You should know the meanings. A lot of people don't know the meanings. Even Shastrical, they don't know. Sadate Patakaha Adamaha. It's very, very low grade of learning if you do all this. So, this is a slokam which tells you how not to chant. What is the purpose of Veda is to make known what is not known. There are a lot of things which we don't know. And Vedas make it clear to you. As you go by, not overnight. It takes many years for people to know what is not known earlier. Lead us to the Vedantic inquiry into truth and jnana, and it gives us an uplift to the self and community. The universal well-being, it's not just only for your well-being, but universal well-being. Develop the maturity and the wisdom to gain inner vision and stability. Of course, these all happen over a period of time, especially when community starts doing it. In the last 2 months, at least there have been 4 Maharudram and Adirudrams in the US. Atlanta, there was Atirudram. Atirudram is for 11 days, they do it. What we did here, actually it was 1-day function, really Maharudram. There are different stages, I'll come to it later. But there are people who realize that this is beneficial to the community. And this is being done here as well in other parts of the world. And what do they teach us? They teach us a variety of subjects. If you want to know really, right from astrology, astronomy, what austerities are, what are ceremonies, medicine, meditation, music, poetry, everything. And to enable, provide service to all mankind and ways to discipline, most important, the mind and the body. Now you start reciting the Rudram, one day you will find that you have got better control on your mind and the body. You are able to concentrate, your power of concentration goes up tremendously, you are at peace with yourself, the stress goes away, and you focus your thoughts on specific things. Now that happens very, very because all Vedas are positive. They don't have even a single negative word. They talk to you in such a manner that it encourages you, inspires you, and the positive thoughts really get into your mind and you say, well, I can face any challenge. And it helps you to lead a contented life and travel on the path of liberation. No, Hinduism, the ultimate goal is attaining bliss, moksha, which is different from other religions. Here, we don't want rebirth. We believe in rebirth, we don't want rebirth. So moksha is what we want. So this is a path. What's in it for me? A lot of people ask this question, by learning this, what do I get? One thing is to stimulate positive thinking. I will show you some slokas later on. How positive Veda is. It stimulates positive thinking. It helps you to expand your knowledge base. It's tremendous. I've learned quite a few things from Vedas by just looking at the words and then finding the meanings for that. Like Sango Pongama. Many things which we use in a daily life, but we don't know the meaning, but how it has come. Come from that. That improve concentration, then encourage you to be service to others and trains you to become a better human being, most important, and lead you ultimately to the path of enlightenment. Now there are some of these snippets from Veda. Okay? Kamamayam evayam purusha iti. You are what your deep driving desire is. Kama maya evayam purusha iti. What you have in your mind. I want to become a millionaire. I want to become a crorepati. I want to become a project manager. Whatever,
Chartered financial.
That it should be your deep driving desire. Sayata kamo bhavati tat kratur bhavati. As your desire is, so is your will. Your will is shaped by your desire, deep desire. It should be a passion sort of, Only then it takes shape. Not just Well, it's all right, I want to become a chief executive, and then you don't work for it. No, it doesn't work. Yat kratur bhavati tat karma kurute. As your will is, so is your deed. Because once you have the will, then you will start working towards it. It drives you. Yat karma kurute tadapi sampatete. As your deed is, so is your destiny. Now, from the Brihadaranya Upanishad. So these are all some of the snippets. Very, you find so many of them. This is another one, very common in many of these suktams, which you say. One is Purusha Suktam. Om Tacham Yora Vrinimage Gatum Yajnaya Gatum Yajnapataye Daivi Swastirastunaha Swastir Manushepyaha Urdvadigaju Peshajam Sanno Astu Dvipate Sanchatushpate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now you see, this is a typical slogan which talks about well-being of not just only human beings. It talks about the whole entire universe, all beings, living, non-living also. Tacham Yora Vrinimege. Tacham means that one. He doesn't say what. That one. Who is that one? The Almighty. You can call it by any name. Tacham Yora Vrinimege. I am praying to that force. Gatum Yajnaya. We are praying, worshipping. Gatum Yajna Pataye. That person who is head of all yajnas. It doesn't say Parameshwara or Vishnu or Brahma or anything. Gatum Yajna Pataye. There are many things in Sanskrit when you, as you go into Sri Rudram, you will find the omnipotency of the Almighty in every being. Not just only living being, but living and non-living beings also. Daivir Swasti Rastunaha. Daivir means we are referring to Devas. They should be also very comfortable, happy. Swastir Manushepyaha. People also should be happy. Urdhva Jigadu Veshajam. Veshajam means herbal plants, medicinal plants. Urdhva means up. They have to grow medicinal plants for the sake of humanity, to cure any ills that they have. Sanno Astu Dvipate. All the people, Dvipate means 2 feet. Sanno Astu means all the 2 feet beings should be happy. Sanno Astu Dvipate. Dvipate refers to human beings. People who are having 2 feet. Sanchatushpate. Those which are having 4 feet also should be happy. Referring to animals and other things. And it says Om Shanti Shanti. So this is again, see, it's positive, nothing is negative in this. Everybody should do it. So some of these American philosophers, what they have commented about Vedas, whenever I have read any part of the Veda, I felt that some unearthly, unknown light illuminated me. In the great teaching of the Veda, there is no touch of sectarianism. It is of all ages, climes and nationalities. It is a royal road for the attainment of the great knowledge. Now, this was a great American philosopher who existed in the 19th century.
David Thoreau.
David Thoreau. So, there is also a thing that we need to do is preserve the Vedas in our own bit. Vedo vrikshaha tasman moolam yatnato rakshaniyam chinne moole naiva shakha na vrikshaha. Veda is a tree. The roots of this tree must be preserved. Tasman moolam. Moolam means roots. Yatnato rakshaniyam. We should protect it. If you have a plant, if you water the roots, you don't have to water every leaf, every flower. You just water only the root, then it will grow. But if you don't water the roots and put a little bit of spray, a little sprinkle some on the leaf, the plant is not going to grow. So that's the reason why I say that without the roots being protected, there will be no branches nor leaves. That's the reason why I thought we should have this. So this also again from the Upanishad, which is very common, many of you know this. Asatoma Satgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. which is many bhajans we say this, Sai bhajans also we say this. It shows you that take me from ignorance to enlightenment, take me from death to immortality. I want to remain without any birth again, and peace for everybody. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So this is again positive. There is nothing negative about it. So that's why the advantage of learning Vedas is that you come to know how to tackle life. And that's very important from our point of view, that we should learn it. So this background I wanted to give you before we really start on Sri Rudram. Because Vedas are the starting point and you should know. So I'll give you a little beginning of Sri Rudram. To start with, what is Sri Rudram? Having now gone through the background of Vedas, as I said, Sri Rudram is right in the middle of Yajurveda. Now what is Sri Rudram? Now we have Sahasranamams. We have Vishnu Sahasranamam. What does it do? Vishnu Sahasranamam, it sings the praise of Lord Vishnu. Sahasranamams. What about Lalita Sahasranamam? It's also a Sahasranamam. It sings the praise of Lalita, Parashakti. Likewise, Sri Rudram, he sings the praise of Lord Shiva. So it is a kind of Sahasranamam, but with a difference. In others, if you see Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama, they are not supposed to be angry, they are very peaceful gods and goddesses. Shiva has two forms. One is the most benevolent form, and very pleasant. Shiva itself means Mangalam, auspicious. Shiva means very auspicious, Mangalam. It's also got another Rupam, which is a very angry Rupam. It's called Rudram. Rudram itself is meaning anger. And why is it so? Why should you get angry? Because he is what is called Sikshana and Rakshana. Rakshana means protecting. See, a father wants to protect his kid, but if the kid doesn't believe something and then starts doing all kinds of nakara, then you have to really give it a light time out. Punishment. Little punishment. So at that time, even if you don't get angry, you have to show as if you are angry. You may not really get angry, you may be amused by what the child does, but you have to show that you are very annoyed with the kid and threaten the kid with punishment. That's what Shiva does. He is Rakshana and Sikshana. Sikshana means punishment. Carrot and the stick. That's what it is. So in case of Sri Rudram, you are really worshipping a god who is angry. And you have to naturally ask him to somehow get rid of the anger before you seek your boons from him. So he has to cool down. Somebody asked me why all Indian gods have got weapons in their hands. Christ doesn't have it, and Allah doesn't, is not believed to, even though there are terrorists. That's a different story. But they are not armed like Indian god. If you see Kali, she has got all kinds of weapons. You see Shiva, he has got the Trishulam. If you see Vishnu, he has got the Chakram on one hand, and he's got a Gada, which is the mace, on the other hand. Sankha Chakra Gada. So, different gods have got different weapons in their hands. Why should they have weapons? They are going to be benevolent. The reason is they need to have weapons to punish when it is required. So if you see the history, all legendary tales, you find that gods have always fought and then used their weapons. Vishnu uses chakra. Shiva also uses weapons. He's got the deadly weapon in the center eye, which can make anybody to ashes. So you have different weapons of destroying people who are not really either social or beneficial to the community, and who do evil things. Shiva is supposed to have a bow in his hand. You know about it? Rama has got a bow, right? Kodandapani they call it. Shiva also has got. Even Vishnu has got a bow. Shiva's bow is called Pinakam. Pinakam. He has got the arrows and the bow. That Pinakam was the one which was handed over to Rama. Janaka. Janaka, he broke the big bow, right? That bow belonged to Shiva. He broke it. So, the one which is held by Vishnu is called Sharangam. So you have some people having names Sharangapani.
Yeah.
Sharangapani. So Sharangam is his bow, Vishnu's bow. So in fact we start by praying to Lord Shiva. Please, we are prostrating to you and to your bow and arrow. Utota Ishave Namaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Very first sentence. You'll find in other Sahasranamams, they don't start with Namaskarams to do with. Take Vishnu, Vishnu Shatkaro, Bhuta Bhavivat Prabhu. It talks about the qualities of Vishnu. Even Lalita Sahasranam, Sindhurarana Vigraham Trinayanam, it starts with description of the deity. It doesn't start with Namaskaram straight away. Here it starts with Namaskaram straight away. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. Straight. This is only, it's unique that way because it starts straight away appeasing him. If somebody is very angry with you and you straight away prostrate before him, he cools down.
He can't do anything.
He can't do anything because he's already surrendered sort of, waving the white flag. And he says, I bow before you, please pardon me. He's he might have been very, very hot, very angry about something. But half of his anger will vanish. So that's what is being done here. Om Namo Bhagavate Rudraya. So you have this, that's a unique thing about Sri Rudram. And the second unique thing is, the common Panchakshara mantra. Namah Shivaya, which is Panchakshara because there are 5 letters in it. It happens right in the middle of Sri Rudram. Exactly in the center of Sri Rudram. So that is something, the Panchakshara mantra itself comes out of Sri Rudram, right center, focus. So that is another aspect of Sri Rudram. Now, there are other names for Sri Rudram. One is called Shatarudriya. Shatarudriyam. Shatarudriyam, Shatam means 100. The Rudram has been mentioned in over 100 shakas. It also describes Lord Shiva in over 100 different rupams. So it's called Shatarudri. That's one name of it. Also called Rudra Upanishad, because he is a part of giving advice to you how to progress spiritually. Upanishads do that. So it's also called Rudra Upanishad. There are different names. Sri Rudram, Shatarudriya. Now as I said, this is actually coming in the center of Yajurveda. Taittiriya Samhita. It's coming in there are 7 kandams in that 7 chapters. It's coming right in the 4th one. And the 5th prashnam, and there are 11 anuvakas. Call it 11 anuvakas. Anuvaka means each is a kind of a sub-chapter in that. So there are 11 anuvakas. And Sri Rudram has got basically two distinct parts. One is called Namakam. The Namakam comes from the word Namo, 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 which keep on repeating. So it's called Namakam. The second part is called Chamakam. Because you have the word Chame, 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 Chame. Oh, Chame, Chame. Me too, me too. It actually means me too. To me also. Chame, Chame, Chame. What is to me also? It is all asking for boons. The first part of it, you say Namo, Namo, and you keep on praying to Rudra. The second part, after having done that, I want this in return. Mashaschame, tilaschame, godumaschame, masuraschame. I want grains. I want wheat. I want this dal. And I want happiness, peace, both the material things that you need for life and also the spiritual things. Vak yajnena kalpatam, mano yajnena kalpatam. I want my talking, conversation to be sweet. Mano yajnena kalpatam. My mind should be absolutely clean. I want to think cleanly. I want to be very contented in my mind. And it should be clear of pollution. Again, we're asking something spiritually. That's why I said it's all positive. If you see the meanings, every word, every sentence in that is positive. And once you realize it, then you start also thinking in the same way. Because you keep on repeating the same thing. You are what you think, as I said before. And that influences your thoughts. And thoughts lead you to deeds. And deeds eventually will be your destiny. That's the reason why Sri Rudram is practiced. And if you know the meanings, they're very good. And basically it talks about the attributes of Lord Shiva. His omnipresence, that he's being present in every form of life. He's present in you, in him, in dogs, in robbers, in thieves, in dacoits. You'll be surprised. How can he exist? That is the fundamental of Hinduism, that God exists in every being, whether he's good or bad. You go to temple, not everybody is good there. There are also people, pickpockets coming and praying. Right? So he's also there. So it doesn't discount anyone as evil or bad. It says God exists in everybody. And that is why you say namaste. When you meet somebody, you offer your prostrations, namaste to you. No other language does it. No other religion does it, namaste. We say good morning, good evening. But in India, they have coined this word namaste. And in some parts, Maharashtra, you know perhaps, at least I know the people when I used to travel in train, all these illiterate people, farmers used to come in the train, they will be milk vendors carrying milk, and when they meet someone, they say Ram Ram, Kasaka Sagla Barayana,
Jai Ram Ji.
Jai Ram Ji, Jai Ram Ji. To the utter the name of the Lord, not really refer to the weather. The weather came from the west, but in India it starts with divine. Today culturally, everyone is oriented towards religion in India, no matter which part. It's very much common, and that's something which is talked about in Sri Rudram, is omnipresence and omnipotence, and it is in very, very sweet renderings, I should say. So I think that is the concise purpose of Sri Rudram, to describe the glory of Lord Shiva in his various forms, his presence in various rupams, and it's all rendered in certain specified way with the intonation and pronunciation to be correct. And it is said that once you start reciting it, you find that your mind becomes much clearer and you have an effect, very beneficial effect of experience. And the more you recite it, the more you spread the vibrations outside, and the potency increases with the number of repetitions you have. That's why you have Maharudram and Atirudram. I'll explain to you later how many times and all that. The more you recite and the more people do that, the more is the impact it causes to the community, it causes to the entire world. And that's the reason probably it is spreading all over. So we'll stop at this point just to give you a quick summary of what we talked about. Today is going to be my talking, but later on I'm going to give you homework so that you do some work from home and then come back. Today we just covered briefly what is Vedas, an introduction to Vedas, how does it really influence people, what are the benefits of that, and Sri Rudram is a part of the Vedas which comes right in Yajurveda, and talking about the glory of Lord Shiva in his Rupam as Rudra. And we will talk more about it as we go along. My plan is, I'm structuring this program in such a way. Today is going to be a launch. I've just given you only basics of Vedas and what Sri Rudram is about. But as we go along tomorrow, we are going to have every Friday evening.
Yeah.
So it's okay, Friday evening 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Friday evening, because the people felt there's one more person who's supposed to come. Friday evening 7 o'clock we'll meet. Tomorrow we meet. We will start with the Dhyana Slokam. And every of these has got a Dhyana Slokam, like Sahasranama. We'll talk about Dhyana Slokam. And there is a certain way it has to be also said. So there is Nyasam, which is preceding the Dhyana Slokam. I will teach you Nyasam and what it means, different types of Nyasams you've got. And then Dhyana Slokam. And then subsequent classes, we'll start with the first Anuvaga. So each time one Anuvaga, so it goes on for 11 Anuvagas. That will be for the Namakam part. And then comes the Chamakam part, which is also 11 Anuvagas. So maybe each class will have one Anuvaga, since it will go on for another 22 to 25 weeks. Assuming there is no interruption in between. So that's a structure that I have got in mind to do that. And when you do that, if I teach you one Anuvaha, then you have got to practice it at home and then recite it again the next time when you come. So make sure that you can practice it. And to the extent possible, you by heart it. So when a time comes, you should be able to recite it all by yourself. Without it. There is a book, in fact, this I got last time in Chennai. It's a simple book. If anybody wants to photocopy it, you can do that.
To the Sanskrit.
It is in Sanskrit. You can read Sanskrit?
I can read, but not very fluently.
Not
I
right.
slowly
You in Telugu?
I need to get some Telugu. Yeah.
Telugu. I don't know whether you got the Telugu book, if anyone has got.
Maybe
Maybe
I'll find it.
internet
Yeah.
can give you.
Yeah.
Internet
It will definitely be there.
I get. So you can get Telugu. Once you get that, in meantime you can use it. If you can speak Hindi, that would be nice.
Rudram. Sri Rudram.
Kumaresh, you will be comfortable with Sanskrit or
Yeah.
Tamil?
No, Sanskrit works for me.
Sanskrit? Sanskrit works for you? Sanskrit. So we'll have Sanskrit then. So I can make some copies if you like. You can use that. So we meet tomorrow, alright?
7 o'clock. Yeah.
Nama Parvati Pataye
Mahadeva.